Hey everyone, it's in the third series, no, fourth or fifth series in the health cast I started doing, and this will complete the series. So, welcome to Mind Shift to Health and Wealth, and wrapping it up with three topics that I'm going to cover that I do. Again, remember, all this series is about how I do things and what I found effective. So this is something to keep in mind. It doesn't mean that it works for everybody, but I believe this is the holistic approach with variations will work for everybody. So you have to see what's the right fit for you within this probably stuff I'm going to share. Go to mindshifthw.com to get all these in the article forms and also extra material as far as my eating schedule and everything. If you want more information, you'll also have a contact form. If you wish to contact me, maybe set up a time to talk to me, get my input. I will probably have some webinars, free webinars where people come and ask questions in the future if there is enough interest, but we'll see about that. So let's get into it. The first topic I'm going to cover is fasting, especially intermittent fasting. Let's go behind the science behind fasting and the actual facts. So going back to hundreds of years, thousands of years, human beings, most of their evolution barely could find food enough to eat. And they were not eating so many times. Very limited amount of time to eat and limited food to eat. Not this much variety, processed. Obviously, everything was natural. So guess what? Our bodies have adapted to that particular eating till, I don't know, 100 something years, since last 100 years or so, when the food now has 100 to 200, maybe 200 years max, I would say, that food has become abundant. It's abundant, especially last, I don't know, 50, 60 years probably is all the processed food preservation, preservation, which includes a lot of unpronounceable names, so on, right? We'll talk about food later, but basically the fact is we're able to eat food whenever we want to now versus, having a specific times and difficult to get the food. Now we're able to eat food whenever we want. For generations or thousands of years, human beings maybe were able to eat one meal or 2 meals a day, max, right? That's the history. And maybe even sometimes no meal a day, right? I mean, like pick whatever they could eat, whatever they could gather, hunter-gatherers time, right? Thousands of years, hunter-gatherers, then the farming, even with farming, it was limited amount of food, so on. So there's a clearly timeline where we had to fast. We just didn't have the food to eat, or couldn't just cook the food or find the food, grab the food and eat, whenever we wanted to. Even fruits like off the trees, right? We got to go find it. There was a limited amount of time. And that's where, the whole thing fasting, intermittent fasting is effective because it mimics that time period, what our bodies have been used to doing so far. The hundreds of thousands of years, what our DNA or, biology has adapted, our body's biology has adapted to. The other factor is, just like every body part in ours needs a rest, our tummy needs a rest. It needs time to process the food. So more you keep continuously feeding, the less rest it gets and less efficient it is to process the food you have. And that's the, kind of the basics of, I would say, science. If you just think logically, right? Don't even have to go behind the science. Just think about it, the chronology of events and chronology of time and how human beings evolved and how farming came about and how we became hunter-gatherers to farming to industrial revolution now, to the internet revolution, well, AI now. So AI revolution. which will make it even far easier to get food probably in the future. So that's why it's critical to remember that food was not abundant and not available anytime you want. Now, as far as, intermittent fasting, the timeline, it varies. I find there are too many variations, too many things. So it all depends on your comfort level. One other thing I would caution also is men versus women. Both biologies are different. The cycles are different. Dr. Mindy, look her up. I forgot her first name. Dr. Mindy, she is a great one to watch or listen to about women's rhythm when it comes to intermittent fasting, thinking they can do it exactly the same way as men. It's not true. Hormonal cycles are different, so they crave different things, evidently, according to the biology, certain foods. So you have to pay attention to that. So everybody is not the same. You got to pay. So most people do 16 to 18 hours. I think that's the most, 16 hours fasting. Whoever does intermittent fasting. Most famous is 16 by 8. 16 hours fasting, 8 hours feeding. 1 meal, 2 meals, at least minimum 2 meals, I think, within the 8 hours is the most normal intermittent fasting is 18 hours, is obviously 18 hours fasting and 6 hours feeding. Same thing, probably 2 meals, right? And then the rare ones are 20 to 24 hours fasting, like within 24 hours, they only eat 1 meal, 20 hours. Now, I do 20 hours fasting and 4 hours feeding. Technically, it varies between 20 to 21 hours, and 3 to 3.5 hours is what I feed. Within that period, I'm eating 4 different things. I make my fast with the juice, and then a salad. Again, in the food, I'll get into that, the whole thing. And then I kind of drink a decaffeinated coffee, Swiss water processed, organic. Caffeine is good for your gut in limited quantities if it's organic and non-chemical processed. So those are things important, right? But then over caffeinated will lead to loss of sleep and all that stuff. Anyway, we'll get that into the food portion, right? And then I eat my, whatever meal that day I have planned for. So that's my regimen. But every week, I follow 36 to 40 hour fasting, water only fasting. Sunday evening, whatever meal, by 5, 6, I'm done. And then Tuesday morning, around 8 o'clock or so, 8, 9, I break the fast with the juice again. That I do every week. That's a bit extreme, right? Most people won't do it. It's not that it's recommended, but that, if you can do it, it's, you're going to get great results. At least I have great results with it. Again, word of caution, what works for me might not work for you. So you have to listen to your body about all this. You got to experiment. But the bottom line is, regardless of intermittent fasting or not, science has found at least giving your body 12 to 14 hours break between eating from evening to morning is highly, highly, highly recommended. If not, you're not doing your body good, your gut good. So maybe eat your last meal at 5 or 6, and then 6 or 7, whatever. And then next morning, at least wait till the 12-hour period, 12 to 14 hours period, and then break your fast with whatever you're going to do. So that at least the minimal recommended for anybody to do. And then as far as long-term fasting and all that goes, I've done even 7-day water-only fasting, did it the wrong way and kind of got affected. As far as 5th, 6th, and 7th day was very, very tough for me, but I did it wrong. Normally, when you do fasting or that extended fasting, you're not supposed to do exercises and also supposed to rest a lot. I recommend the book called Pleasure Trap by Alan Goldman about that water-only fasting or fasting, fasting effects, right? But anyway, so one of the things that happens for fasting to remember is autophagy. Autophagy is your body, or self-eating, essentially. That's what it's called, what it means. So your body is eating all the bad bad cells or dead cells and rejuvenating them and feeding it and rejuvenating. So that also produces stem cells. So the longer you go, more stem cells are produced, which automatically repair your body. So that also reverses your age. So when you do like a 7-day water only fasting, it is incredible how much change you can see as far as the body is concerned, like how it rejuvenates you and reverses your age. Again, I highly recommend reading that book or following doctor's orders, whatever, not doing anything. If you're doing water only fasting, people do bone broth and all that stuff between the fasting. From what I know, from what I read, those are pretty good, but the most effective is water only fasting if you want real results, which actually cures like things like diabetes completely. Doesn't matter what type of diabetes is, and even cancer. There's studies done and experiments done, and it does. Maybe not the advanced level. Again, I would recommend reading these books, and the book I recommended, and also watching some podcasts and research, your own research, the extended water only fasting. So that's critical in my opinion, to do fasting of some form, at least the minimum 12 hours for your long-term gut health, which gut pretty much controls every disease. Sugar, diabetes or the sugar causes a lot of stuff. And if you don't give your body a rest or gut a rest, that converts most of the food into potentially sugar or, glucose, right? Again, you can do research on it. You go Google it, you'll find a lot of content with it. I would say multiple people and gather that information instead of just listening to one person and say, oh, I found the exception, right? There's always exceptions, and simply you don't want to go with one person saying something different unless there's multiple science saying the same thing. So now let's get into, that's about fasting. So I again go to mindshifthealthhw.com to get more info, or if you want to message me and get more information on anything you would like to know, I'm more than happy to help. Next is food. Now, the important thing about food is organic, period. That's very, very important. As much organic food as you can eat. And then the other thing to remember is each person is different in what food works for them, what food doesn't work for them. Meat, plant-based, whatever. It's not same for everybody. Your body is different, is unique. Your ancestry, where you grew up, all that factors into it, right? So you got to remember that. Like if you're generations of vegetarians and plant-based, then plant-based probably is best for you because that's adapted. Because I've done everything. I've done 100% raw, organic, plant-based, no cooked. Now I did that 70-30%. That means like they were 4 or 5 days. I only eat raw, organic stuff. And then 2-3 days I ate cooked. And I've done mixed, right? Mostly plant-based, organic, right? So all that, what I found is there's no one magic bullet. But one thing that is true from every studies and all the information I've seen on all the experts talk is that organic is the number one. Even if you eat meat, grass-fed, organic, natural is the number one critical thing. And the other thing is vegetables and fruits. Organic vegetables are a must. More raw organic vegetables and fruits you eat, the better. And again, there's some fruits and vegetables that won't work for you. Again, you got to figure it out by your body type, right? Listen to your body. For example, for me, grapes. high sugar, no matter organic, natural, whatever, for me, it doesn't work. I just figured that out, that when I eat, grapes, it's too much for me. Even if I, don't eat any other, sweet content. But then if I eat, maple syrup, or I don't know, dates or whatever high kind of sweet fruits, that works just fine for me. No problem. And I've heard some people have issues with carrots, spikes up their sugar. So you don't know. So it's all like your, body and biology. So you might want to get tested. There's a great product called Wyome, where you can get tested, complete check, including your gut bacteria and everything, to figure out which foods work for you. I haven't done it myself, but that's one of the things I want to do eventually. But somebody is getting into this healthy habits, that's one. So for me personally, what I do is I break my fast with celery juice, or beet, apple, asparagus juice, and every day I break the fast with the juice, except Saturday. And then I wait 40 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes or so before I eat my salad. Celery juice, replenishes your acidity and breaks down the food properly. By the way, FYI, if you're first time drinking 100% pure organic celery juice, cold pressed, you might be going to the bathroom multiple times. It flushes out your tummy. Same thing with beet. If you drink 100% beetroot juice, anytime you have constipation or anything like that, and wait for a half an hour, 45 minutes, you'll be flushing things out. I would recommend organic, anything organic. So anyway, juice, and then I eat a salad. I include rainbow colors, every color possible. Go to mindshift.hw.com. There's an article. I put it out for my weekly regimen. That's not 100% detailed, but it gives you the general idea on what I do, because there's too much information. I might be writing an ebook maybe in the future to kind of detail, give some recipes, all that stuff in the future for people who want to have everything in one place and get some ideas and maybe follow some recipes and all that stuff. Because even my salad, what I would say is salad dressing is raw, organic. Now, other food items I would say is, I already kind of mentioned, I eat a salad and then a coffee with some snacks. Basically, it's raw sweet potato chips, essentially sliced raw, with the guac or hummus I make myself. And then, then I eat my food, whatever that food is, mostly plant-based, and some eggs sometimes. I break the fast on Tuesday with eggs. Again, go to my, website, you'll see that information. But important thing in the salad is rainbow, right? All colors. I include all colors of possible: red, white, green, orange, so on and so forth, whatever, right? As much as possible. I script it. The important thing to remember is script your eating. Set it up in the week, maybe meal prep and all that. So that way you're not thinking, right? If you start thinking, what am I going to eat today? Figure it out. I'll go with the flow. That doesn't work. I mean, you can try. Maybe you're the, low flow with the guy. Great, do it. I mean, it's up to you. You got to figure out what's good for you. But if you script it, then you're not thinking. You can do the meal prep. Maybe make your salad ahead if you're like, don't have the time. Everything, whatever, salad or whatever you need to do, right? So script it. Scripting is important. Scripting your eating schedule, because you setting up your schedule and eating it is important. I found that makes it easier. I don't have to think about it. I know what I'm going to eat the whole week, essentially. And then, variation, I vary it every week, sometimes. But scripting food is important. And lastly, sugar and alcohol. Sugar is the number one dangerous addictive substance in the world. Forget drugs, forget cigarette, forget alcohol. Everything else is minor compared to sugar, because it's the easiest thing in these days anyway, processed, right? In every freaking food, processed food, there is sugar, high fructose corn syrup, whatever, the worst thing. Sugar is the number one reason anybody gets sick, even cancer. There are a lot of studies showing sugar is the root element in every disease we get. So the faster you quit sugar, the better off you are. I'm only talking about processed sugar. Now, sugar cane, like the raw brown sugar, raw, unprocessed raw is a little bit better than normal sugar, but I quit even that. I replace mine with like a monk fruit sugar or maple syrup or honey. That's what I do. I mean, you can even put date syrup, so on to sweetener. Like, I drink masala chai, with honey or the monk fruit sugar, which is actually good for you. The monk fruit, it naturally does something to your body that it actually processes better and does good for you, according to a lot of studies. Obviously studies can change and maybe things will change. I don't know. But I feel, good when I do that. It's been almost a year since I quit sugar now, and I feel great. I don't crave sugar. Occasionally, I'm not saying occasionally, I still don't have a dessert here and there, but there's no craving. And if it's too sugary, any dessert I try certain week, it doesn't sit well in my tummy. But what I've also learned is make some desserts with raw stuff, like dates and medjool dates, and some nuts and some other dry fruits, and mix it with maple syrup or raw cacao powder, all that stuff. It makes a great sweet, and it satisfies my craving. So there's a lot of different ways. Anyway, sugar number one. Alcohol. Again, no matter if you're a moderate drinker, alcohol is very bad for your liver and your gut. It kills a lot of bacteria, a lot of stuff. There's a lot of science behind it. I know people like, I'm a moderate drinker. Oh, it's okay if I drink one drink a day, or I don't know, occasionally a week, or once a week or something. No, I quit once a week. That's how I feel like I got into the shape. I always wanted like a flat tummy, all that stuff. Even as a college athlete, I never had it till I did this in my 50s now, pretty much best shape I am. I think one of the big main reasons are the fasting, sugar, alcohol, mainly alcohol. Because I was a social drinker, maybe once or twice a week kind of deal, weekends only. Even that, I think, was affecting my overall, no matter what the exercises I did and all that stuff. So those are the things about food. Again, more information, go to mindshifthw.com. Lastly, exercise. About exercise, there's a lot of different things you can find. Unless you're a fitness model or a bodybuilder, I think those extreme exercises of lifting heavy weights and doing all that stuff is not effective. For someone to be in good shape, healthy, and all that stuff, exercise is important, especially resistance training, lightweight training, or I don't know, like a quad training, whatever, that works your muscles. Muscles help you reverse your age or keep your age up. More you work your muscles, the better you are looking younger. It helps you a lot. It helps even the autophagy portion I mentioned to you. Exercise like intensifies the autophagy. So it's not needed that you got to exercise, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, lift heavy weights, but man or woman, you have to do resistance training. And there is David Asprey, by the way, go look him up. He only does, I think, 5 minutes overall, or 15 minutes all over the week. He has an effective exercise. The guy has freaking six-pack, muscled up, and he barely does 15 minutes a week. Like 3 times a week, I think 5 minutes or something like that. Very effective exercise. I haven't tried it, by the way, so I don't know. The plan is I'll go into that, try it, see how it works. Been exercising 15, 20 years now, so I don't know how I'll feel not exercising every day almost. Well, I work exercise 6 days, 5 to 6 days a week minimum. Sundays or Saturdays I take off, depending on the regimen I'm following. And important also thing is vary the exercises. I vary the exercise. Every 2-3 months, I change it up. I follow different routines because your body gets used to it. So it's very important not to stick to same routine. Your body is amazing. It adjusts, it gets, what do you call, adjusted to whatever routine you're there, and the effectiveness goes away. So try to vary the routine, when you're exercising, and always incorporate muscle building exercises or muscle exercises, essentially, that'll help keep your body fit, not only fit, but young. The more you work your muscles, the more younger your body feels. Because number one reason anybody gets sick is age. That's the science now. As long as you can keep your reverse aging, or keeping your age as whatever age you are, young age, the less chances of you getting sick. There's a lot of people who do a lot of research into this. Well, with that ends my health series. I hope this has helped people, whoever have listened. Again, I'm going to combine all the health series I did into one, so people can digest if they want in one podcast or one YouTube episode versus the multiple ones. I did it for people to break it down, so that way they're not like lost in all the content, because most people don't go through the extensive stuff I do for health. I think holistic health is important, top to bottom. I hope this served people, and thank you. Please, like, subscribe, and share if if it provided value for you. And like I said, you can consult with me or reach out to me if you think I can help through my website, mindshifthw.com, and we can talk at that time. And future, like I said, I might be setting up some webinars in future for people to ask me and talk to me. Thanks. Again, thank you.